What's up, guys? It's Chris here to give my predictions for two big MMA events coming up this weekend: WEC 45 and Strikeforce. I believe the show is called Evolution. I'm going to start off with WEC 45 because that's what I'll be watching first, because unfortunately I got the West Coast delay with Showtime, so I won't be able to watch the fights as they happen live. WEC 45, only 4 cards announced for the televised bout. Absolutely great matchup, so this should be one of the more entertaining events if everything plays out as I expect it to. First fight, we got Takeya Mizugaki against Scott Jorgensen. Two tough as nails guys. Two guys that like to kind of get in wars. Really good chins. Solid punchers. I give Jorgensen the wrestling advantage. Maybe the strength advantage as well. But I'm hoping that this fight is going to be a stand-up war. Not that that's all I enjoy in MMA, but based on these two guys' styles, I think that would make for an excellent fight. And I think that's the way it's going to play out. However, I do think, like I said, Jorgensen has a wrestling advantage. Can take Mizugaki down and work him over there with the ground and pound. So I'm going to go with Scott Jorgensen to win this fight. Not sure if it's going to be by decision or TKO, but I'm going to go with Jorgensen to win nonetheless. Next up, Joseph Benavidez against Hani Yaha. Benavidez, I believe he's coming off his first loss to Dominic Cruz in his last fight. Good fight. He didn't get blown away or anything, went to a decision, but Cruz controlled most of the bout. Hani Yaha, great jiu-jitsu specialist. Fighting, he's pretty good except for in the stand-up. Doesn't have the best stand-up, doesn't have the best cardio as well either. Benavidez is pretty versed on the ground, but I don't think he wants to get any kind of long exchanges on the mat with Hani Yaha, because as good as he is, he will get caught in a submission. So I think Benavidez, having the wrestling advantage, which he definitely does have, and a slight stand-up advantage. Neither of these guys are that good at stand-up. Plus, Benavidez showed good cardio in the fight against Dominic Cruz, something, like I said, Hani Yaha doesn't have the best of. I'm going with Benavidez to win this fight by decision. As long as he doesn't play on the ground too long with Hani Yaha, he should be safe, should be able to ride out a decision. And should be a good fight, though. But whenever it hits the ground, look for some exciting scrambles. And don't be surprised if Hani Yaha catches Benavidez in something if they're down there too long. Next up, we got Chris Hordesky against Anthony Jokwani. Hordesky making his WEC debut. He hasn't fought since, I believe, the IFL folded. Did he? I know he was scheduled to fight once in Affliction. I cannot recall off the top of my head if he did or not, because I know he kept getting injured. I'm going to say he didn't. Don't hold me to that, but I don't believe he's fought since the IFL folded. Anthony Jokwani, he fought on the WEC a couple events ago. First time I saw him, I can't recall who he fought against. I should have looked this up, but he actually looked pretty impressive. He lost the fight, but he looked pretty good in the defeat, in all honesty. This should be another fight where his guys are primarily stand-up. They have similar styles, both like to strike. I think Jokwani is a little more powerful, a little bit faster, and I think that's going to give him the advantage. I like Hordesky. He's a pretty entertaining fighter, and from what I've seen, Jokwani, so is he. But I got to go with Jokwani to win this fight. Hard for me to say how hard he hits or what Hordesky's chin looks like. Plus, Hordesky's got to have some ring rust, but I'll give Hordesky the benefit of the doubt and say it makes it to a decision, but I'm going to go with Anthony Jokwani for the win. Main event, Donald the Cowboy Cerrone against Ed Ratcliff. Actually, I'm supposed to do the conference call tomorrow morning and hopefully I'll get asked these guys a question, but I didn't want to wait to do the video. This should be a good fight. I mean, when is Donald Cerrone not in a good fight, right? Ed Ratcliff, Ed 9mm Ratcliff, perfect foil because he likes to stand and trade as Donald Cerrone does, although Cerrone is a much more well-rounded fighter than Ed Ratcliff is, in my opinion. Cerrone's coming off that absolute war with Ben Henderson. A fight I thought he deserved the decision in, but he, didn't get it. Ben Henderson got it, but it was a close fight regardless. It was a great fight regardless. Ed Ratcliff, I don't remember what his last fight was. He has one loss. I believe that was to, Marcus Hicks, where he got stunned on the feet and Marcus Hicks just bulldozed him and took him out in the first round. I question how strong Ratcliff's chin is. Not that Hicks doesn't have power, but he's not the best stand-up fighter. Based off that, though, and just based off Cerrone's level of competition, his fights, just everything, I got to go with Donald Cerrone to win this fight. The guy is an absolute stud. He's one of my favorite fighters. He's one of my, he's a guy whose fight I want to see every single time out. He's never in a dull performance, whether it's on the ground, on the feet. The guy is just a monster in there. And this should be a great fight based on styles. I'm going to go with Donald Cerrone to win this fight, possibly by KO. Like I said, Ratcliff got stunned by Hicks. I think Cerrone's got some pretty good technique on the feet, obviously. If it hits the ground, definitely give the advantage to Donald Cerrone. Ratcliff's not really well versed. He's more of a karate background. Cerrone doesn't like to go to the ground, but he's good there. He's pretty damn good there as well, as we saw with the numerous submissions he locked on Ben Henderson in the third round of that fight. I'll go with Donald Cerrone to win this fight by, I don't know, stoppage. How about that? Stoppage somewhere, second or third round. But it should be a really good fight. Don't miss it. Next up, we got Strikeforce Evolution. First fight of the night, Robbie Lawler. It was supposed to be against Trevor Prangley. Prangley just got hurt and pulled out, so it's Robbie Lawler against 2B announced. I'm going to go with Robbie Lawler. Seems like a good style matchup for him. Next up, King Mo Lawal against Mike Whitehead. King Mo making his Strikeforce debut. If you haven't seen this guy fight, look him up on YouTube. Good young fighter, exciting fighter, entertaining fighter. Whitehead is coming off the win over my favorite fighter, Kevin Randleman, unfortunately. So, I got to go with King Mo here. Not that I hold anything against Mike Whitehead because he beat Kevin Randleman. I'm more so frustrated that Randleman fought just a poor fight. But anyways, King Mo, better wrestler, I believe. More explosive, stronger puncher. Whitehead's probably got better technique. Mo's only been fighting for a year or so. But I just think Mo's got most of the physical advantages. Whitehead's got an advantage in experience, and level of opposition. But I just haven't been all that impressed by Whitehead over the last couple of years, even when he has won. So I'm going to go with King Mo to win this by decision. Next up, Matt Lindland against Ronaldo Jacare Souza. Good fight, another good matchup. Lindland, I believe his last fight was the TKO loss to Vitor Belfort in Affliction. Jacare had a fight with Jason Miller, got cut on a kick, an illegal kick to the head. Fight got stopped. If you haven't seen Jacare, another great jiu-jitsu practitioner, one of the best in the world, if not the best at the moment. Easily top 3 though. Lindland has a wrestling advantage, but Jacare, for being a primarily jiu-jitsu guy, has some pretty good takedowns as well. Standing, neither of these guys is forte. Don't really know who I'd favor there because neither of them, these guys are really good there. Hits the ground, obviously Lindland's got the better wrestling, but you really got to be worried going up against Jacare on the ground. I think Lindland's instincts are eventually going to take over, and he's going to take this to the mat, and I think Jacare is going to catch him. Lindland's got pretty good sub-defense, but not the best. Going to go with Jacare to win this by submission, some kind of choke somewhere in the second round. Next up, Strikeforce lightweight title Josh Thompson in a rematch against Gilbert Melendez. Josh Thompson, actually, I got to talk to these guys on the conference call last week. Also had Josh Thompson on the radio show last Thursday. Be sure and check that out if you get a chance. Good interview, in my opinion. But, in the first fight, Melendez was the favorite going in, but Thompson absolutely dominated the fight. Won every round. I asked Melendez why he thought that was. He just thought he had a bad training camp. Josh disagreed. Josh thinks that he just capitalized on Gilbert's mistakes and whatnot and thinks he's going to do the same here. Josh says he's 100%. All the injuries are healed. He's ready to go. He says if he loses, no excuses. He just loses to the better man. Got to respect that. I know Josh is going to have a lot of ring rust because he's had those injuries and the layoffs. As for Gilbert, he's been fighting more consistently, been training more consistently. But based on the way the first fight went in the styles matchup, I'm going to go with Josh Thompson. I'm going to take him at his word that he's 100%. And if that's the case and all things else, are even, going to go with Josh Thompson and win this fight by decision. Maybe not as one-sided as the first fight, but I do think he'll win the decision nonetheless. But it should be an entertaining fight. Main event, Cung Le versus Scott Smith. Cung coming off the win over Frank Shamrock, which was, like a year and a half ago. Scott Smith coming off the loss to Nick Diaz. Scott Smith had a little break after that fight, which he needed. That fight was a war. He's always involved in wars. Good style matchup. Both guys prefer to just stand and trade. I think Lee's got better takedowns with the Sancho background. Smith, not very good on takedowns. Definitely not good with jiu-jitsu or anything, but neither is Cung Le. Should be a primarily standing battle. I do think that Scott Smith hits harder. Hard to say who has a better chin, but Cung Le's more well-rounded. And I don't think Strikeforce wants Cung Le to lose, so I do think they're trying to match him up in an exciting fight, but a matchup that favors him. Should be good. I got to favor Cung just because he works in the kicks, works in all aspects of the game. Scott's got some pretty good Muay Thai himself, but I just think Kung's overall well-roundedness with the striking will get him the win here, particularly using kicks to the head and the body and possibly the head. Scott, he has a good chin and whatnot, but and I don't know, man. I just think Cung Le's gonna get the better of this. There was something else I was gonna say. It completely skipped my mind. Oh, I don't think Kung's got the most power though. He's beat up a lot of guys like Sam Morgan and Frank Shamrock, but he never took those guys out, so I think it will go the distance. I think it should be an exciting fight. I think that and the Cerrone Ratcliff fights will be fight of the weekend, but I'm going to go with Cung by decision. Probably back on Sunday to give my thoughts on all these fights. Be sure and check out the website, thewillbebloodfightshow.com. Check out my Twitter if you're interested. I'll try to get the conference call quotes and videos up later this week. Be sure and check out the interview I did with Josh Thompson on the radio show last week. I'll, like I said, put the links to the information part. Until then, guys, though, I'm out. Bye.